right, so you and I both saw Kong.
I mean, you sort of saw Kong.
I sort of saw Kong, and I'm telling you, man, I don't know if it's just because I'm old. I'm 35. I'll be 36 in September. Or because I like to get up ridiculously early. It seems like, I love my mornings, man.
Yeah.
But I've got to start taking a nap before I go see movies in the evening, because we went to a 7:30 p.m. show.
Yeah.
And like within the first 15 minutes, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to fall asleep. And I nodded off a little bit, just like what happened with Doctor Strange. But I do remember quite a bit of the movie. I remember a lot of the big action scenes and stuff. But overall, I'd say the movie was quite forgettable.
I thought it was leaps and bounds better than the Peter Jackson King Kong movie from a couple of years ago.
And I only saw that once, too.
I saw it a couple of times. That one was...
I do like Jack Black, though.
That one was much more close to, like, just being a remake of the original King Kong, because they go to the island,
right.
They capture Kong, they bring him back to New York City.
Mm-hmm. That
was basically the story of this new one, the Peter Jackson one. This one, wildly different.
Yeah. I liked John C. Reilly's character in it. I'll tell you what I didn't like, and something that I kind of noticed right off the bat. Specifically, the scene where John Goodman and his little buddy are walking across the street in the rain, just regurgitating exposition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was like what the first 15, 20 minutes of the whole movie was just, you're just being beat over the head with exposition. And, I feel like movie makers think I'm retarded and can't follow a story or can't glean how a character is supposed to be without them just telling me straight up. I mean, they might as well have had the screenwriter come out and be like, all right, here's the deal. This one dude is this kind of guy. This guy really wants to do this, and this person has some ulterior motives for this, and this person's in love with this person. You know what I'm saying?
It was a very formulaic story.
Mm-hmm.
This was paint by numbers. This
right.
whole movie was paint by numbers. I will say they painted pretty well.
Yeah.
From a cinematography standpoint, from an effects standpoint, the monster fights were really cool. There was a lot of good technical work.
Soundtrack was good.
But the soundtrack was excellent. But this was very much a paint by numbers story.
Yeah, just
it was just
dumb
trope
action
after,
movie.
It was trope
story,
after
yeah.
trope after trope. I mean, from the very beginning, I didn't know 100% that Samuel L. Jackson was going to go Colonel Kurtz on me, but
right.
I was pretty sure.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have that antagonist in a story, and it can't just be King Kong, or it can't just be a giant monster, because the whole purpose of King Kong in any King Kong movie is to sympathize with King Kong.
Yep.
So you kind of have to steer that story in that direction. Plus, I mean, obviously they want this to be a franchise. Mm-hmm. So I would assume that the next movie is going to be them trying to go and capture him and bring him back to the States.
Well, I will say, and you didn't stick around.
I did not stick around for it, dude. I was so tired. I went home and went straight to bed.
Understand. Yeah. But now then would be a pretty decent time to talk about it.
Tell me all about it. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers, definitely. I mean, I suppose we should have called spoilers before I said that thing about Samuel L. Jackson, but whatever. So this movie is going to be directly related to 2014's Godzilla.
What?
And the ensuing sequel, Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Okay, so how did they tie those two together?
This Kong movie and Godzilla?
Yeah, what was the end scene? What was the end credit scene?
So, at the very end, Tom Hiddleston and
the girl,
generic white girl, generic white girl are sitting in one of those two-way mirror rooms, and the guy that was John Goodman's assistant comes in with the Asian girl who, incidentally, we didn't get introduced to her at all until they were all on the boat going to the island. She just kind of popped into existence and then was a fairly important character for the rest of that movie. That was just weird.
I'm trying to even remember what Asian girl you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's the thing. She had no introduction. She was just there suddenly, and then became like a love interest, or like a pseudo love interest for the black guy that was John Goodman's assistant.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah, so they come into the room. and they're like, we've got something to show you guys. This is important information. It seems like monsters are real, which, I mean, again, because they had to say that, they had to cram that line in 5 or 6 times throughout the movie. They had to cram it in. They had to cram it in one more time. So they're talking about like tens of thousands of year old cave paintings and stuff, and they start showing pictures of them, and it's Mothra, it's King Ghidorah, it's Rodan, it's fucking Godzilla.
But wait, wasn't Godzilla supposed to have like a tie-in with Pacific Rim too?
I hadn't heard that one.
I think I had heard something about that. Like, how crazy would that be if King Kong, Godzilla, and Pacific Rim all tied in together? Now, here's something. I never saw Godzilla.
The 2014?
No. My dad was like super excited about it, and he went and saw it, and he likes Godzilla, but I heard that you barely see the monster or anything, and I was just like, eh.
I mean, it's
Bryan
like,
Cranston's character dies.
Yeah,
I guess.
like within a half an hour.
Yeah,
Bryan
so
Cranston
like,
is dead, and I was like, oh, now I have to follow this dumb guy.
Yeah, it just seemed like I don't really care.
Yeah,
enough to watch it.
Yeah, I kind of want to see the sequel, King of the Monsters, because it looks like it might actually be closer to one of the old school Godzilla movies where it's just, you know, monster fights and stuff, which I thought that they had in this movie a fair amount of monster fighting.
Enjoyed like the monster fight at the end. I don't really recall a whole lot of monster fights in the movie, but then again, I nodded off quite a bit.
It was more the humans versus the monsters.
I remember the spider
anything.
scene when they kind of look up and realize there's a spider above them, and they start hacking at the legs and stuff like that. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember when they first see King Kong and he's like stomping on people and just decimates their whole crew. It was great. And then the with the skull, what do they call them? Skull crawlers.
Yeah, that's what John C. Reilly calls it.
The fight at the end of that, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
you know. But at the same time, I doubt I'll watch it again. Maybe I'll watch it just for the end scene, or that might be a movie you might want to put on, you know, if I just want something in the background.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was forgettable. It really was for me.
I didn't think that it was terrible. Forgettable's not a bad adjective.
Yeah.
It's very formulaic.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. I think I'm probably more excited about like the new Planet of the Apes movie. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And we've got so many good movies coming out here soon, or at least movies that I hope are good.
Right.
Ghost in the Shell, Ghost in the Shell, Power Rangers, and like Trainspotting 2 all come out in the same weekend or something. It's going to be crazy. And then, you know, Beauty and the Beast. I want to see Beauty and the Beast. I want to see Boss Baby too. Like
that's weird.
Hey, I like Alec.
I do like Alec Baldwin. Yeah,
and you know, my girlfriend is a 4-year-old, so like, you know, we went and saw Moana and we saw Lego Batman. So, and honestly, and I've said this for years, you know, if you want to go to a movie and nothing looks good, go to whatever the kids movie is, because it's probably at least going to be entertaining. And that being said, fuck you to the dude with his kids that were sitting behind us in the movie
behind
theater.
Us. Your fucking 4-year-old kid that you brought to this movie.
Who's making like noises right in my ear and just talking and just being loud. I mean, come on. I expect that if we were at, you know, a Disney movie or a Lego Batman or something like that. I expect that.
Yeah.
But at a PG-13 movie, come on, dude.
Featuring giant monsters and fucking horrifying giant spiders, mutilating bodies, and just violence everywhere. Why would you bring your 4-year-old to this movie?
And here's the thing. I don't recall ever hearing the dad tell his kids
not once
to be quiet.
Not once.
And I almost wanted to turn around and be like, are you going to fucking parent your kids or what? Because I didn't pay to see this movie to hear your kids, you know, I'm trying to take a nap here. You know what? Maybe in a future episode when we're low on content, we'll talk about theater etiquette. Because I've got some things that I want to say as a movie going person who goes and sees movies all the time, especially now that we have a theater that's so cheap.
Yeah.
We'll educate you on how to act in a movie theater. But this guy was terrible. And his kids were terrible. I hope he got in a wreck on the way home. You ready to move on?
It's very formulaic, it's somewhat forgettable. The monster fights, the cinematography, the soundtrack, those are all really good, but ultimately...
Guardians of the Galaxy brought back the classic rock soundtrack for movies.
I mean, this movie takes place during, like, right after Vietnam. Of course it's gonna have a great soundtrack.
Yeah, but would they have had the same soundtrack if Guardians of the Galaxy had not existed?
Yeah, I would guess that they would, because it's a period movie.
Alright, whatever. Let's move on.